Sounds good.
I do hereby call to order the meeting of the Chesapeake Beach Ethics Commission, September 21st, 2020 at 1 p.m. The meeting is in order. First next item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
to the
to the
flag
flag
of the
of
United
the United
States of America and to the
and to the
republic
republic which it
for which it
stands,
stands, one
one
nation,
One nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
liberty
liberty,
and
justice for all.
Okay, next item is approval of the minutes of the September 11th, 2020 Ethics Commission meeting. Does anyone have any objections or corrections?
No.
Hearing none.
Phil, just
Yeah.
one sec. I think we do have a correction on the bottom of item number 3, where we have decision. Shouldn't Stuart Cumbo be needs clarification along with the other 3 at the bottom?
Here's what I think happened. I think we did find nothing more needed. And then when I was putting together drafting the messages, I noticed this discrepancy between his Form C and Form D.
But what about the Bob Monroe trustee issue?
You know what? I think you are right. You are right. You're absolutely right. So, yes, all in favor of correcting the minutes so that it shows for Mr. Cumbo needs further clarification or information, indicate by saying aye.
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 I will say needs clarification or additional information. Thank you, Ingrid.
You're welcome.
With that change, is there any objection to the minutes?
No.
Hearing none, they are approved. And I'm clicking something here. Okay, now we are to review the revised disclosures of the candidates for election, of which there are 4. We might as well start with Mr. Cumbo. With his additional submissions, does anyone see any problem? Hold on a second. I need to say something for the record, which is our role is not to, in this situation, is not to determine whether or not there are any conflicts of interest or any problems at all, other than whether it's, and I quote, the disclosure were facially incomplete or defective, unquote.
Phil, what does facially mean?
I say it is, there are blocks that have to be filled out. For example, the name of the seller of real estate that you bought. And if there's no entry there at all, or it says something like I bought it from a bank or a private person, then that's facially incomplete.
So if I may, Phil, and I've had this issue with some of the other ethics commissions that I work with, and I think what Phil said is the interpretation that I've generally had over the years, and that is, is every schedule filled out where it needs to be filled out, regardless of the substance of it, but is it properly filled out? Is it, if it needs to be notarized, is it notarized? If it needs to be signed, is it signed? Basically, is every space that's supposed to be completed, filled in, as it should be, regardless of the substance, but just in terms of form. It's an issue of form rather than substance.
So it could be incorrect information, but there's something there. Is that right?
Correct. Yes. Something there that is responsive.
But still could be wrong.
It could be wrong, but being signed under oath under penalty of perjury, and then that would be up to the Ethics Commission if it chose to do something in terms of review or investigation or follow-up to do it as a complaint or other proceeding, but not, necessarily hold up the filing of the form itself if on its face it appears to be properly completed. I had one in another one of my jurisdictions where it was facially complete, but the information supplied, one of the commission members knew, which is not right. But that did not mean that it wasn't accepted. It was accepted, and then the Ethics Commission, took some further action, part and aside from the sufficiency of the disclosure form.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you.
Sure.
Within that, actually, Mr. Cumbo's original disclosure was, as far as Forms D and E, was, I would say, facially complete, even though there was a contradiction between the two. If D was accurate, then E was inaccurate, in contrast to the other problems that we've had. But in any event, he's corrected that, the E thing, and he's done a revised the Form D, I guess, what was, hold it. Didn't he revise the, some confusion about, in his original Form D, listing somebody named Bob Monroe as an entity that
I think he was a trustee, wasn't he, Bill?
Yeah.
All right. So anyhow, he submitted a revised Form D. Which I think is facially complete.
So Phil, just a quick question about the facially incomplete again. Where do we get that standard? Why do we use that as a way to interpret these forms?
All right, but it's in the ordinance.
Okay.
That's what I was quoting from, yeah.
Okay.
Now keep in mind too that in addition to the fact that sometime later, if you've signed a form under penalty of perjury and it's knowingly false, I would expect that all the candidates will be looking at each other's disclosures. And it would, between now and election day, the fact that there's, if it were internal contradictions, that becomes a political issue, I would think.
So why do we even use that standard of facially incomplete? Why don't we just say incomplete or erroneous?
Well, okay. Fred, is that from the model language?
Phil, I don't know. Yeah, it's been a long, long time since I've had to look at that.
Yeah. Well,
But
Ingrid, I postpone. We have to do what's in it.
Sure. I agree.
Yeah, so, but this is something we should make notes of, and,
Right.
the next 6 months or so is something to either clarify or decide that we're perfectly happy with.
Good enough.
All right. If there's no more discussion of Mr. Cumbo's submissions, All those in favor of finding it to be facially complete and non-defective indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The next one is Joshua Johnson. Let's see. Oh, wait a minute. Oh. Actually, let me read the message we sent him. You need to disclose from whom you bought each of the properties. If indeed the seller was a bank, you need to identify the bank. Also clarify the price you paid for the Sterling, Illinois property you bought in 2016. Was it $12,000 or $45,000 or some other amount? And finally, please confirm that the property address of 3814 26th Street is in Chesapeake Beach. If it's not located in Chesapeake Beach, you need to say where it is located. Okay, that one he has done. No, wait a minute, take that back.
Then he added, we had another email with that where he added it.
He did, okay,
Yeah.
all right.
For
And,
which, Phil, which address was that for?
3814 26th Street.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. And,
Unfortunately, on a couple of them, he didn't mark yes.
oh, yeah. I think that's okay.
I agree.
That's good, but facial, yeah.
But then on the deal property, he doesn't identify whether there is or isn't a mortgage holder.
Well, I think boy.
Well, it doesn't say, does it, state whether or not there is a mortgage? It just says identify all mortgage holders and lien holders.
Because on some, he puts a line through some that don't. So he may have just forgot to put the line on there. Otherwise, he puts Andrew's Credit Union or, the person. And same with the other property, the Shady Side. He put something, then he scratched it out. So, maybe he meant nothing. Oh, wait, he sold it. So that's a moot issue.
Right. Okay, so that's that.
Let me ask a question, if I may. On the deal property, how much did he pay for that?
It's really hard to read this. I think it's the 155.
Not a one there, 155? Okay.
I believe so.
Boy,
That's what I thought.
It's hard to see it, but it looks like it.
It'd be identical to the amount he paid for the Bayview Shady Side. Paid $55,000.
I'm not. It's hard to read it, but given that it's in deal, it's probably not of that much interest. We know who he bought it from, so
Yeah. How about, I don't know, I was going to say we approve it, but send him an email saying if there's an error here, it'd be in your interest to correct it.
I agree with that.
Think
I
that's
agree.
okay?
Well,
Yeah.
an error where? In which one?
Well, in the one where there's, any of them where there is nothing on the line about mortgage holders and lien holders.
So that's the deal, 6032 Melbourne Avenue property?
Yeah. And the illegibility of the price.
Yeah. Well, I think you have to be more specific, than that, Phil,
Okay.
because the reason I say that is you say if you put it to him, if you think there are any errors here, clean it
No.
up. And if he says, no, I don't think there are any errors here,
No.
not knowing what it is that you're concerned about.
No, we'll tell them that we're assuming that it's $155,000. And we're assuming that there are no mortgage holders, but it would be in his interest, if there is one, to correct this by tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Is that okay?
Sure.
Yep.
All right, those, with that understanding, those in favor of approving Mr. Johnson's submissions as not being facially incomplete or defective indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. The ayes have it. All right, has anyone seen anything from Mr. Fink?
He sent something, but I think he forgot to put the attachment on there.
I can't even find that. I can't, I do search my email. Can you see if you can find it, Ingrid?
Let's see here.
I don't think I got it either, to be honest.
I vaguely thought I saw something in my email at some point, which I didn't
think it
try
came
to.
from Sharon, didn't it? Did it get forwarded from Sharon? Let me
find
see. Well, declaration of candidacy. I'm trying to find it.
Okay.
There's Joshua Johnson. Back. Oh, paginated patent. I like the closure. Yeah, closure. There's more. Draft. That's great. Well,
I did check to make sure that it was sent to him, and it was. The letter.
Mm-hmm.
yes, I remember that. And then Sharon, didn't he send something back? And did you forward it to us?
I told Phil while we were getting started, I looked down through mine and I couldn't find anything that had come from him.
Because it didn't
Either.
have attachment. It said, attaching it, but I remember looking and then there was nothing there. And I thought, oh, I guess we're going to get something.
Right.
In fact, I remember his email saying something, but I thought I took care of this adequately earlier in the year or something. But it's disappeared from my inbox, I think.
Ethics agenda. Agenda aids. That's Johnson. It's Jeremy Clinton. That's great.
didn't necessarily have to go through Sharon. It could have been addressed to me or the three of us.
Let's see here. That's Johnson. Or-
Sharon, what was the date of your letter that you sent out?
14th.
Okay.
Well, why don't we, I think we're gonna have to meet tomorrow, unless it could clear it up in the next 20 minutes or so. And I will do, I think what Mike was implying we should do, I'll go back to my email starting on the 14th.
That's what I just did. I can't find
did?
it. I remember seeing it, and then it said he had attached it, but then there was no attachment.
Isn't that weird? All right.
It is bizarre. I remember seeing that.
I'm glad, Ingrid, you had the same experience I do, so it's not just my insanity.
I didn't see anything either. I went through all my emails.
Right, but Ingrid and I both think we remember, seeing something.
Yes,
All right.
definitely.
All right, so before the meeting started, I asked Holly if she would give him a call. And I think we should do, Sharon should I'll draft something for Sharon to send him by email. But I think the best thing will be Holly contacting him and, there's no blame here if in fact he sent something and we've lost it. But we're going to have to meet, I would say, this goes on to the next last item on the agenda, scheduling a meeting. But we have to notify the Board of Elections by the 22nd. I personally don't feel like working at 11 p.m. tomorrow night. Now, I don't know what happens. I mean, if I suggest we meet at 4 p.m., so we have it by close of regular business. I don't know what happens if we report at 5 p.m. that there's a candidate's disclosures are incomplete.
Shouldn't we try to do this in the morning, Phil, and knock it out and not wait to the last minute?
Well, last minute would be 11 p.m. I think.
Because if we contact him now, it's only 1:25, and it was a minor change. I think he did it, and he just forgot to attach it.
Yeah, well, I agree with Ingrid. Why don't we do it in the morning? Let's see if we can get it by 9 o'clock meeting or so.
Yeah, that
Really
sounds
good.
good, and get it knocked out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, the defect was in
He just had to
real
split the
estate.
properties. Yeah.
It said standard residential real estate transaction.
I just can't find it.
All right, well, I've heard a motion for us to meet at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. And I've heard no dissent from that. Are we ready to vote on that?
Sure.
All right, all in favor of our next meeting being 9 a.m. Tomorrow morning, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Now, I think it'll be open to us at 9:15 if we want to schedule another meeting that day.
Right, if you have
But
to.
that's up to us at that point. All
Right.
the last-
Hey, Phil, on the note that you go to him, ask if there's any way possible he can have it in by 8 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah,
so that, so give him a deadline so we can have it in prior to the 9 o'clock meeting.
okay, yeah.
Or even sometime today, just to, I think he
Yeah.
has.
Yeah, tell him that we're gonna meet at 9 o'clock and it'd be, behoove him if he has it in by 9. If not,
Okay, then the last one was Greg Morris. He had a series of not saying who he bought real estate from. And I recall his actually sending something that met our demands, and I don't see it in front of me. Does anyone else have that?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was, September 19th.
Okay.
Yep.
Ingrid and Mike, you've looked at it and it looks like it's complete.
Yes.
it's good to me.
Okay. Those in favor of finding Morris's disclosures to not be facially incomplete or defective, indicate by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. All right, the next issue is scheduling the next meeting, which in one sense we've done. The other thing is we have to, before October 1st, vote on whether we think the current ordinance applies with the state requirements. I would think that'd be a quick meeting, but I also would think it ought to be announced in advance so that we don't try to do that tomorrow at 9 a.m.
Well, why can't we do that tomorrow? I don't understand, Phil. I mean,
Well, because the theoretical possibility of somebody saying, I personally have looked at this and it's in violation of some section of the state law. And I think that's one of the reasons for announcing meetings in advance, is to give people, members of the public or politicians, the opportunity to weigh in.
okay.
I'm hoping, obviously I hope that wouldn't happen, but I'm thinking in terms of a 10-minute meeting.
Okay, good enough.
Can we do it on the 28th?
Hold on, yeah. Or 1 p.m.?
Yeah, 1 p.m. sounds good.
That works.
When was that, Phil?
1 p.m.
28th?
on the 28th. Oh, that's Yom Kippur.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
All right.
Okay.
How about the 29th?
That's fine.
29th? That's good with me.
Okay, what time on the 29th?
1 p.m.
1 p.m., that's fine.
Okay. Okay. Without objection, that's scheduling of that meeting. Any comments by commissioners or members of the public?
Enjoy the last day of summer today.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
what?
Tomorrow's
Last day of
fall.
summer.
Okay, hearing none. Is anybody not ready for adjournment?
I'm ready for adjournment.
Hearing none. All those in favor of adjourning indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Thank you, everybody, and I
Yeah,
will call.
Phil, a point of clarification. Tomorrow's, we're going to have a Zoom meeting on the same number and everything. Is that correct?
No, I think we'll find out from Sharon.
Oh,
It'll
okay.
be a Zoom meeting, but I think Sharon will tell us. Well, I
Okay.
think probably the same phone number. No, I don't know. I don't know enough about the technology.
Okay.
Okay.
Sharon will send an email.
Have a good day, everybody.
You
Have a good
too.
day, everybody.
Bye.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye.